My name's Cheptok, Betty. I am from Uganda, eastern part of the country called Cheptock. I am 20, I'll be making 28 in November. My mother first of all told me that when I was born, I was a very healthy child. I looked so beautiful. But at the age of 5 months from childbirth, they took me, I got clinics in the village. They injected me and I got paralyzed. So afterwards, they really had the desire so much to see that I become like any other child. So when I reached time to go to start school, my mother could carry me in the morning on her back, takes me to school. The father comes in the afternoon, takes me back home. That happened for like 7 years until I completed my primary. When I joined secondary school, that is when they took me now to a boarding kind of where you sleep at school. I studied in a boarding school until afterwards my father sourced information because my legs, I used to crawl from down. I used not to have crutches before. So he met a friend of his who told him they have, he had a son, but why don't you take this girl for an operation? Maybe something could be done to her. So afterwards he took me to a rehabilitation center. They operated me. After 2 years, I started using calipers. When I was 9 years old, I began using this and I began using crutches, and from that time I stopped crawling. But still, whenever we get holidays, they carry me on their back, take me back home. Time for school comes, they take me to school. My father came to school and told me, "Betty, you know what? Because female genital mutilation in my culture is a core value for my community." So he told me, "Betty, I love you very much, my daughter. I have no option, I have no alternative. Please help me. You have to be circumcised with my young brother." So I asked my father. He told me everything had been prepared. There is no way, there is no excuse, there is no nothing. Just help me or else the community will kill me like the elders. So I told my father, no. How will I handle the problem of disability that I already have and that of female genital mutilation? My father told me, "I have told you, it's up to you. Immediately you get holidays the following week, make sure you're coming home. Your brother has already started moving around to mobilize the people." So it became a tormenting moment to my life, how I could look at the disability that I have and then the burden of female circumcision. Time came for us to close school. I talked to my headmistress. He told him, the HM told me, "I have no choice. You go and see what your mother can tell you." I went to my village. I met my mother. Luckily enough, my father was not at home. I told my mother, I went to her crying. She told me, "Betty, I am also supporting you very much. I went through the circumcision, your father went through it, your grandmother went through it, but I wouldn't expect you to also go through it because I know what it means." So she just had to carry me again on her back and took me to the nearby road where I could get a means of transport to make me run away from home. She told me to go to a sister of hers who lives almost 100 kilometers from my village. So I reached there at night. I slept. Then the following day, my aunt took me to a deep village, very far away from her home. Then the following day, when my father reached home, they asked, "Where is Betty?" They told him, "She has not come back." "Are you sure?" He went looking for me. He only realized this girl could be at the auntie's place. So he followed me up to my auntie's place. They told him I wasn't there, though I was there, but I was taken somewhere else. That was the end of my relationship with my parents. My father mostly, he refused to pay for me school fees because I had embarrassed the family. He refused to do anything that really a parent could have to do to his daughter. When time came, the season ended, I went back home after the whole period. It's normally done in November to January. So I went back home to request for school fees. He disowned me and sent me out of home. I continued staying at my auntie's place. Then all of a sudden, a friend of mine called me and told me, "But you know what? They want you to be in Kampala." that was the time when I just realized that the plan of God had not left me aside. When I came to Kampala, I got sponsorship. I studied up to, and this time I would no longer go back home to my parents, because however much you have refused to be cut, still they have to force you into the circumcision. When I was in the university, I contested as a student leader for students with disabilities, because based on my past experience, I had a lot of challenges, and which led me really get the desire to see how I could help the people who are in my situation but who are still young. So when I was at the university, I really felt there was a gap that I needed to agitate for the rights of people with disabilities. I studied under affirmative action until I completed university, but it is one thing that inspired me to really understand that as long as you have the confidence and you have the determination, you can make it, even despite disability and any other thing, you can make it.